what we need to do to take off the lower and the upper forend of this, the lower handguard and the upper gas tube handguard, is we need to rotate this lever on this side out. But this weapon hasn't been apart before, so I'm almost guaranteeing these things can be a huge pain in the butt the first 1 or 2 times you do it. There we go. They're on there, and I almost guarantee that handguard is going to be on there pretty solid too. The arsenal weapons that I've worked on, are a lot of AKs that you work on first time around, they come off difficult. Okay, this lever needs to come up to be able to get this handguard off, and sure enough, it's pretty sticky on there. There we go. Give it a little bit of a wedge, lifts up and out. Okay, that's the upper. Now for the lower, there's a pin right here, or a lever, that needs to be rotated up and around. That is, sometimes it gets sticky, but it's hard to get to, so I just kind of, oh, this one's actually pretty, not too bad. From there, the forend retainer and the sling swivel is going to slide forward off of that. So hopefully if it cooperates. So we'll see if we can get it work. There we go. Got it work forward. Now once that comes forward, we'll go ahead and pull out this cleaning rod out of the weapon, and the lower will come off just like that. Okay. Alright, I reset the camera and I was taking a look at the rail itself, and I noticed that the cleaning rod will not fit back into the weapon unless if perhaps maybe I shorten it, but it just won't get through this block right here. There's no hole or no cutout for it, so that's something you might consider. Now one thing I did notice is this rail is very straightforward. It's notched and to receive the forend cap. So some of them you'll have to, some setups, upper and lower setups, you might have to remove the swivel, or not the swivel, but the sling loop, or some you might have to cut the whole front cap off. But this setup from SLR Rifleworks, it doesn't require that, so there's no permanent alteration of the weapon, and it fits in just that easily. It just pops right in just like that. I use a lot of the, I've used I wouldn't say a lot, but about 3 or 4 personally that I've used on my own personal M4s or M4 type weapons, these forends. So they're quality, real quality manufactured, and it's a very simple fit. So what I did was I reset the forend cap and locked it into place where it belongs, set the rail in there, take the gas block, and it should fit in should fit right in there, and it does. Now, just like the Ultimac, this gas block here, yep, has front to rear play in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center that when I put my screws in. I put some glue on these things, thread locker on there, and I'm going to run one of them in just till it makes contact to hold it centered. I'll get it centered right about there, centered in that little bit of play it has, and I'll just put enough torque on that just to hold it in place. Now I'll run the other screw in, and then I will apply torque and alternate that between each of the screws. So I'll get a little bit of torque there, I'll come to the other opposite side, a little bit of torque there, come back to this side, continue, and be careful when you're putting torque. I do this professionally and do a lot of installations. Be careful with aluminum threads. If you go too far with aluminum, you'll wish you never had. Now, what I'll do is I'll come to these bottom screws, because I didn't need to take them off to get this to fit on there, and I'll go ahead and do a little bit of alternating torque here, torque each of these until we get them snugged up. And there you have it. The rail was self-aligning, meaning that when you clamp these two together, it straightens itself out and it aligns itself, and it is perfectly straight along the barrel. You can see that there is no movement in the rail at all. There's flex. There's always a little bit of flex. AR M4s, exact same thing, so that's normal. Other than that, it doesn't rotate, doesn't move front to rear. Very solid looking and feeling setup. Boy, that really allows you to get some stretch out there on the weapon. I would imagine, just like an AR or an M4, that these are going to heat up. There's a pretty big heat sink, or this block might act as a heat sink in here, but who knows. So I'm sure it's going to get hot. But that's pretty badass looking right there, if you ask me. Solid construction. Quality rail from SLR Rifleworks. Alright, I'm going to set up and get the rest of this rifle back together, and we'll take a look at it assembled. Alright, real quickly I'm going to reassemble this weapon, take a quick look at it while it's back together. I'm trying to get this done while the rain is not beating down. As soon as I say it, here comes the rain, but I'm going to stick with this, get this back together. Alright, there you have it right there. Take a look at this thing. Arsenal SGL 26, Magpul Zukov stock, Magpul Mo AK Plus grip, SLR Rifleworks 13.5 inch key mod, and the upper Picatinny gas block. Awesome looking setup. I'm going to have to run it and give some thoughts later on.